Forgive me for laughing because I know where it's going. It's a serious enough film. It doesn't take it's not tongue-in-cheek in any way, shape or form, but I'm just, from a personal perspective, working for a company, that you kind of watch this film and think, my goodness, I think work would actually do this if they could get away with it. Welcome along to Here's Rodder's Reviews, the show that loves all things entertainment and shares that love with you. I am your host, Rodney Stewart. Now, we're going to continue on with the Hammer box set in this episode. This movie, The Plague of Zombies, I actually really enjoyed it and found it quite funny whenever we find out what's going on by the end of the film, because I actually work for a company that I kind of feel that if they could get away with doing something like this, they would have absolutely no problem whatsoever in doing it. So basically the film starts off, there's a young doctor in a Cornish village in England who's trying to deal with and find out what's going on with a lot of people dying in the village, but he can't figure it out because he's not allowed to do a post-mortem because the town is actually run by a squire who is basically the law of the town. Judge, jury, executioner, you name it, nothing happens in the town without his say so. So he's been held back from doing autopsies after people die, and he writes a letter to his professor, the guy that actually taught him when he was at college. The professor and his daughter decide they're going to travel down because the daughter is actually best friends with the young doctor's wife, so she's excited to get down to meet her, and they turn up in time to see a funeral been taken. There's guys out fox hunting, which turn out to be a bigger part of the story than you give it credit for at the start. They cause a bit of trouble at the beginning of the film and throughout, but yes, the professor, he comes down and find out to try and find out what's happening, and they decide to sneak into the graveyard at night and dig up the grave of the person that's just been buried that day whenever they arrived. So basically, when they dig up the grave, they're caught by the police. The police are going to arrest them and take them away, but they've already got the grave uncovered. They're just about to open the actual coffin itself, and the professor is like, we're in trouble for body snatching, we might as well have a quick look, and he rips the coffin open. It's completely empty. So we later discover in the film that there's voodoo involved. Well, it kind of like puts that in Front Street right in the opening of the film. You see a voodoo ritual happening, and that and bodies disappearing. Eventually they get the whole graveyard dug up, and there's not one coffin in the graveyard has got a body in it. So everything's traced back to the squire. We figure out that his father owned a mine outside of the town, which was generating no money whatsoever, but when he died and left everything to this young son, who's now the squire of course, he seemed to just turn up in the town and have nothing but money about him. So there's a bit of mystery about him. I don't know where he's brought money back with him or what's happening, but later on we discover that after the young daughter's wife is actually killed, turns into a zombie, and the professor's daughter is marked as the next victim, and forgive me for laughing because I know where it's going. It's a serious enough film. It doesn't take it's not tongue-in-cheek in any way, shape or form, but I'm just, from a personal perspective, working for a company, that you kind of watch this film and think, my goodness, I think work would actually do this if they could get away with it. Basically, by the end of the film, The professor's daughter is marked. She's had blood stolen from her to work in part of the voodoo ritual to control her, to bring her to the estate of the squire, and she's in there. You find out what's happening, then she's taken down into the mines where the voodoo rituals are being conducted, and you see all these zombies in the mines actually working, and that's the whole plot behind what's happening with this squire. Is he's using voodoo to raise the dead to work as mines, because basically the mines were that unsafe. The reason they had to be shut down in the first place was because actual real living people wouldn't go down into them because they were that dangerous. So that's what I found funny whenever I seen what was actually happening. Like, he's raising the dead to work as zombies to keep his mind going. And just like, again, I'm just like, holy crap, if work could do that, they would definitely do it. Like, so by the end of the film, the young doctor and the professor get into the mines to save the daughter, but during that he accidentally sets fire to the mansion of the squire, and there's one of his followers, his robe's catching fire. He ends up going down into down in the mines with the rest of them as they're trying to make their escape, and basically everything catches fire and starts getting destroyed, and the workers, the minions of the squire, like the real living minions of the squire, end up getting overpowered by the zombies as the professor and the young doctor and the daughter escape. That's pretty much where the film ends off. So yes, I don't know if this review made any sense at all, because honestly, the irony of actually working in real life and seeing some of the lengths that workplaces will go to get the job done, and you're kind of thinking to yourself, oh my goodness, this would actually happen where I work at. So guys, I wish that review was a lot better. I'm sorry that it wasn't. I'm actually pretty tired at the minute. That's no excuse, but I want to get footage out, I want to get uploads on the channel, I want to keep things going, I want to get through this box set as well. So this, in all honesty guys, I had almost written off this film at the very beginning. I was just like, it wasn't really jumping out, and you know how you like to watch a film and it kind of jumps out of the screen and drags you in, it's like, watch me, watch me. I didn't really have that at the beginning of this film, but after about 25, 30 minutes in, it starts to grip you. It has enough there to kind of keep you guessing, and definitely, like all the rest of the films in this box set, this is definitely worth a watch. It is really good.